Hello everybody, I hope you're well. Slightly different start to today's video, but why not, man? Let's mix up a little bit. Right then, I'll turn you around, I'll show you what I've done, tell you why I've done it in the order that I'm doing it, and then we'll crack on. Okie dokie. Limestone slabs, 600 by 900, classed under the regulations as heavy buggers. They're a bit of a nose, but there we go. I've made my decision now I've got to stick with this. And as you can see, I started over there, the bottom of the step, worked my way around into a bit of a dead end. And then I went up and I did what you saw me do a little bit earlier and sort that step out. And the reason for that is because this garden down here, phase 1 as we're calling it, phase 1 of 3, this garden is going to be symmetrical. So that planter needs to be emulated exactly how it is. I've made my decision. If you want to know what I mean by that, watch the second episode in this series. I'll put it on screen now. A link to it's in the description. So that is going to be emulated over there. And this path is going to be exactly the same, albeit going around the planter this side, all the way back into a path up to here. So I did that. There's nothing to learn, nothing to show you here really. I've done it all off the level. I didn't put any lines up or anything, simply because it's just, it's a couple of slabs, it's done. I did a lot of prep work in the previous episode as well. I will go into what mixes I've used, the primer, all that sort of stuff, the do's, the don'ts, when I do the main bulk of the patio, which is going to be this area here. Because I've looked on YouTube and there's only 93,000 videos on how to do a patio. So I thought, oh, well, it's just crying out for another one, isn't it? So we'll do that in another episode, I reckon. But up until now, this is what I've done. I've come to here and I've reached a bit of a dead end, because underneath that brown tarpaulin are a load of logs. And I weren't going to move all them out of the way in order to carry on. So what I decided to do was to just dip my toe into phase 2 of this garden refurb and do the step, extend it a little bit and build the log store, which I've sort of done frame wise. All that will be made to look pretty later on in the episode, but as you can see, it's sort of done. So I need to do this in order to know what I'm doing with that, spacings, sizes, all that sort of stuff. It's now done. So now I've got somewhere to put these logs. So now I can shift these logs just to once from there into their new home there, which will create space here to build the planter. The fencing here that you can see here will then be built as a fence in a one, so I haven't got to move that. I'll use it straight away and then replace this old fence with the new fence. That will use all that up. And then this timber that I've been saving over the years over here has basically been used as much as I need it over there. Sudden realisation of, oh, I'll keep this bit of timber, I'll keep that bit of timber, realising you've got a load and you can't really use any of it because it's just too short, too crap, too big, too small, whatever. So a lot of that then can go into the skip now. With maybe holding a couple of bits back, just if this needs extending the log store, I mean, either that way or that way, but we'll go into that a little bit later. So now I can move these into there, and then I can start on the other side of the garden. Now you don't need to see me fill this up, so we're going to use a little bit of YouTube magic. Here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Boom! There we have it. That was a powerful click. It's changed my pants and everything. Yeah, fully stocked, and as you can see, I had quite a few left over, so that extension that we were talking about needed to take place, and it has done. Just put another leg in basically, and then put a shelf across using one of the sleepers that Richard donated, which is very kind of him. Just putting the cant rail at the back just to cover the gap up. Yeah, there we have it. What more is it to say? I went this way up the garden with it, not further down, simply because it'll be easier then when it comes to using them walk out the doors, grab a couple, back in, and away we go. And that's that. Now, because these are now stocked in there, it has freed up this area here, as previously mentioned. The timber has gone to a good home. It's going to be Dad's allotment. That's going to be used for various repairs, and for those who have an allotment, you know that bits of timber and whatnot, always helpful. So that's up there, ready to be recycled and reused, whatever. And I've done this, dug it out, concreted it ever so nearly. I'm about half a mix too short, which is a shame, but there we have it. I've bought some more ballast, so I'm going to do that now. This has been, as you can see, I have shuttered this in a fashion, simply because this wall, this planter, needs to be the same height as that. Reason for that is obviously it needs to look equal, goes without saying, but where the slabs meet the wall, that's where you'll see any discrepancies, and that will be really ugly. So wherever they meet, there needs to be perfectly emulated over here. And to do that, I basically laser leveled from the footings over there and put this shuttering in at that level. So just concrete to that, all extremely simple, very rough. You know, I'm not going to win any shuttering shuttering competitions by that. I know our American cousins love a bit of concrete, love a bit of shuttering, but that's probably horrendous to you lot. But I make no apologies, because it does what it needs to do. So I can get that out now, albeit the back one, albeit not the back one I should say, finish that off and start building. Now I'm not going to film that because, as I said earlier, the previous episode, I built that one and it's just the same. So I need to crack on. I'm going to start building, and then we'll get some more slabbing done, and I'll hopefully make a bit of progress. It's been a couple of weeks since that time lapse you've just seen. Weather's turned. It's silly hat season. No doubt you'll see me wearing it during the course of the episode. And we've done all the full slabs, so it's just the cuts to do now, which is simple enough. I think there's about 4 or 5 to do, just in the corner over there. I've pointed this in the lime mortar as well to emulate the other side. So we are very nearly finished the slabbing, but what I want to do today is do just that, and also cap off these walls. And it's been a bit of a thinking, how am I going to do it, what's best to do it. I was going to use the slabs, because I think cutting the slabs down and going along the top of them and just, you know, slab, brick, slab, I think that would look lovely. However, I've worked it out, it's an extremely expensive way of doing it, simply because these slabs are expensive and I can only get 2 cuts out of 1 slab, if you like, because I want to keep, well, I'd want to keep that edge, stick it facing out, which means this is the underside of it, granted. I've cut that down. That will be then the cut edge, which will be the ugly side, so that will be on the inside of the planter. That will be going down the back here, which is fine. You'll never ever see it. However, that means then out of a 900 slab, I can only do 2 cuts, the 2 strips down alongside, the middle of which then becomes sort of redundant. So there's a lot of waste with that. That will mount up. That will take a good few slabs, a lot of money. But I've got these, haven't I? These came out of my kitchen when I did the house renovation. A link to the playlist of which will be in the description to this video. So we're going to use these. These are the original quarry tiles, as I say, that are in the kitchen that I've kept. Anyway, so what we're going to do, we've got a bit of a a jig set up, and I want 40mm overhang on this. So I'm going to cut the back off. The back will go flush with the inside of the brickwork, and then 40mm overhang on the side. So by working it all out, which I won't show you because you can do it yourself, guys, it's all simple. They go in. Petrol saw, I might be going electric. They're out, they've got good reviews. We'll go into that in a different episode. So by putting that into there like so, cutting along this line, that's the wastage. Obviously that will give us an offcut with a clean edge, because I've cleaned them all up down that one side, which will mean, as I say, flush with the back, 40mm overhang. Excellent. We're then going to create a drip groove. Very important. I haven't done it on other jobs, which we won't go into, but I sound well versed in making this mistake. We're going to turn them all over and then put a drip groove along the side, along the underside, within that 40mm overhang, preferably 10mm back from the face of it. All that will become apparent a little bit later on. Now you may have noticed that I just said the word we. What do you mean we? Well, I'll tell you. Look who's back. It's Harry. How are you, mate?
Very good, thank you.
How's your shoulder?
Perfectly fine.
Perfectly fine, beautiful. Still playing with them sticks?
Yes, of course.
Yes, of course he is. Right. Well, he's young, Eddie. We've all done it. Right then. So, got that set up, put the hose into that. It's a noisy morning. Sorry, neighbours. But here we go. Now, it looks like a masonry bloodbath, doesn't it? But, I mean, I've always found with these things, you've got two choices. You either fill the atmosphere with dust or you flood the place. You just got to work out the lesser of your two evils. I know you can control the water, and for a couple of cuts it works, but sustained cuts like these, lots of them, continue. And we've done the slabs as well, going round. So they're all ready. What can I tell you? You're going to get wet, but there we are. Anyway, we move on. So we're ready now. We're going to start bedding these on. I'm going to tell you exactly how we're doing it. But before we do that, as you can see, my pointing is going a bit green. Water's on it, the algae's started, and there we go. And there's not a fat lot we can do about that. Or I could have done about that up to this point. But we'll go into how I'm going to try and prevent that a little bit later on, with how we're putting these copings on and what we're going to do to them. But at the same time, that kind of thing in this garden is going to be an inevitability, because for those of you who don't know, haven't watched the other videos, you see those trees there? That's a fraction of what I'm led to believe is 100 acres of woodland over there. It's just, we're going to get weeds and things are going to get blown over, and that's just what's going to happen. And at the beginning of the year, this house, this render would have been 3 years old, and it all started to go green. So why isn't it now? What did I do? Well, I use this stuff, Patio Magic, and I've got it in a little spray there, and just follow the instructions that are on the bottle. And all I'm going to do, that brought back memories that I didn't really want, but there we go. Pump it up. There we go. And we're going to spray it on. And then what am I going to do? Absolutely nothing. No scrubbing. Nothing like that. We're just going to leave it, and I'm going to go about my day. And then in a couple of days' time, I'm going to show you what this stuff does. Now, obviously, for you, that'll be in a couple of minutes. But we'll check back on it at the end of the video, and you'll see just how good this stuff is for that kind of thing. Anyway, right then, let's get a mix on, and let's get bedding these copings on. It's a new day, it's a beautiful one at that, so I've got no excuse other than to get back out here and crack on. Well, first and foremost, that Magic Patio, it's been less than patio magic even, I beg your pardon. It's been less than 24 hours since I sprayed that on. No scrubbing, no nothing, just sprayed on. The green's gone. Beautiful, excellent, great stuff. Right, we move on. Yeah, finish this one. I've grown to hate these planters, to be honest with you. So time consuming, but we're in now, aren't we? Because I used the lime mortar to point up below, just to make it look a little bit nicer. I didn't want to just use the normal compo on the top to joint these tiles in, and I didn't want to use the lime mortar because, as you've seen, that will just constantly get green and just look a bit crappy. So I've gone for this normal mortar. I've done a 3-in-1 mix and added some Everbuild powder red dye to it. I think you'll think it looks all right. Oh, by the way, Everbuild, if we're going to get done for recycling, how about you don't offset all our hard work and make your tubs that little bit smaller? Anyway, so that one's done, and then last night I managed to get that slab in and do this, as you saw, from the time lapse. So I've run out of everything basically, so I need 7 more than what I've already got to cut to finish that off, and then that's done. This morning, been out with my daughter. She's been priming the slabs for us. It was ace. So we've got that one in and that corner one there. So we're 1 slab away from finishing down here, but I'm leaving that out for a reason. We'll go into that a little bit later on in the episode. Now then, I'm going to turn my attentions to this area here, because this is going to be the outdoor kitchen area. So it's going to be made up of a barbecue. I think it's going to go there, and then a table, effectively. You know, let's have what it is, with an inclusion of a sink, which we've got from the bungalow build, which the customer ripped out, and he says, "You want that?" So I said, "Yeah." So that's going to be in there as well, and that's got to go here, because this is where the outdoor toilet was back in the day, the old outhouse. So we've got water, and we've got a drain for the waste. Now, because, as I say, effectively it's going to be a barbecue and a table, I'm not going to go to the expense of hardcore and sand, cement and the slabs and paving that. You're barely going to see it, but you are going to be able to see it. So I'm going to have to do something with it. So what I'm going to do now is dig that out and just make it good so it can take the waste for the sink. And then I'm going to make it look pretty for minimal cost. And to do that, I've had a bit of an idea. And that idea involves coming back to the bungalow build, where the roofs are coming on beautifully, but more from that next Wednesday. For now, we're back at the garden. Now this slate's got to come off in order to put these roofs on, and the way that we're taking it off, i.e. not from the top downwards, in order to maintain the integrity of the roof and keep it watertight, means that as we're taking it off, it's all breaking. It's got to go in the skip. But how about we don't put it in the skip for now, we put it in the back of my van, and we'll take it home. And back home it is. It's on the back of the van, waiting to be brought in. Got to do a bit more prep work down here first. I'll set you up on time lapse, play a bit of music, and we'll get it done. Well, for the sake of 1 hour 19 minutes, I've just looked at the camera, your time lapse that took. That's all right, isn't it? Arguably need a little bit more in it, but there's obviously plenty more where this come from, so that's not an issue. And you've got to remember, it's barely ever going to be seen. By the time I've built my table, I'm going to put shelves within the table, so you might not be able to see any of it other than what the barbecue sits on over there. And considering also that this stuff to buy in bulk bags is, you're averaging around about 200 quid, 180, 200 quid. So it's that saving straight away. Beautiful, that'll do. And what I could also do as well, things that wasn't too bad, as long as I break it up beforehand. When it comes to, I can edge a bit down here as well, can't I? And maybe the wall side of the fence or the pavement side of the fence down there. Make that look a bit neater. Beautiful, beautiful. Right then, we're in bitty job mode now because what am I going to do? I'm going to mark and cut them. I'm going to do some bits, just do some bits. I've got the family coming back in a bit. They're going to help me clear some this way for the big crescendo of the video, which is coming up very, very shortly. Another day, another nice one at that as well. But last night it absolutely hammered down. The reason why I'm telling you that is because this Google Pixel 4, an old phone that I use purely for the time lapsing that you see on these videos, was left on the windowsill out in the rain all night. Forgot all about it. Still working perfectly fine, but there you go. Anyway, we're moving on. Moving on to Corby. Hello, Corby. Good morning, he says. No Harry today, or ever again. We'll come to that a little bit later on. Bit of a sore point, really, but yeah, all will be explained. Right then, so yesterday it was all getting a bit dark and a bit frantic, and I say the rain starts, so I couldn't really film a lot. But got these little mini planter area things done either side using these tiles, which have become a right pain in the derriere to use for cleaning up and getting the right ones, and it's just been so time consuming. Anyway, they're done now, and apart from finishing off these cappings here, which are all cut there ready to go, all the hard landscaping down here is done. But we're going to put everything else to the one side for the minute because, as you know, or you may not know, at the end of these videos I like a little milestone reach. I like an end to it, and for that I want this lawn down, so we're going to go for it. As I say, Corby's here. We're going to clear all this out of the way, get this lawn down. It's the perfect conditions in which to do it, I believe. We shall see whether it will take or not, but why not? So we'll set up on a time lapse now. We'll get it sorted and we'll see how far we get. Ta-da! Oh yes, you have no idea how happy I am that we've got grass. We've never had grass here. The garden when we moved in, it was all tiered down in about 3 different levels and just overgrown, and there was a big tree just there between the house and the fence, which used to be a hedge. So we've never had any grass out here ever, and it's been looking out of that window onto here every morning has been a bit demoralising. But now it looks lovely. Now the process that we did with this was, you saw in that time lapse, which was yesterday. It got a bit late, so I couldn't film it. I couldn't film much more after that. We cleared the area, got it all level the best we could to eye, filled it in with topsoil. There's about 3 tons of topsoil got in here. Filled it with the topsoil up to the level of the slabs, and then whacked it, and then did it again, and then whacked it, and then we were about that far off the slabs then, and then final finishing screed, if you like, straight over, get it lovely and flat as I possibly could, and then just lay the turf on it. So yeah, there we have it. And today is Wednesday, the 30th of October. So if you're watching this on the day that it's been posted, it's this morning. So there's still time. If you've got any recommendations, any aftercare on this, let me know. It's still relevant. If you watch this in 3 years' time, I've got to be honest, I wouldn't bother if I were you. But you know, we admire your comments. Things like this here, where that join is. Do I seed that? Do I cut a bit out and I've got 1 roll left? Or you know, or just let it do its thing. Also, is it the right time of year? I can't see why not. Really, plenty of moisture. You know, it's grass is gonna grow, isn't it? Is it? I don't know. You tell me. Put it in the comments. Well, there you go. I am a happy man. In many ways, I've scuppered myself really, because by not having this lawn here, I've got a lovely work area for the mixer to mix all the stuff, and I've took a lot of that away by doing it. But if I don't do it now, the time it's taken me to actually find time to get out here and do some stuff and get things done, I will be closer and closer to like the frost season, so to speak, and I won't be laying any lawn, any turf. If it's going to like persistent frost for, 5 days or whatever, she was just going to kill it, isn't it? So I sort of gave myself a deadline of getting it in whilst it's still really mild and quite wet. Hopefully it will take. Let me know in the comments if not. Cutting the grass, as in trimming it, which reminds me, I'll go buy a mower now. The best thing to do really is an old bread knife, which I haven't got. And then Corby jokingly said, why don't you use your reciprocating saw? Which reminded me that I have got this, which is a Milwaukee pad saw, which collapses, if I can do it with one hand, or collapses down into the handle, but it takes reciprocating saw blades. If I can just take that out, give me 2 seconds. Let's throw that down. Takes us normal reciprocating saw blades. Perfect. I'll put a link to them in the description. It's only a couple of quid from anyway, doesn't matter. But there we go. Just thought I'll show you that. It's that's quite a handy tool, because obviously if you want finer cuts of something, i.e. your plasterboard, you can change the blade to a finer one or do whatever. Turn out to be a bit of a multi-tool. Anyway, right then, Harry, I won't go into too much detail. He's not here to write for reply. He didn't have a good day on Saturday. I told him, and he says, well, stick it then, basically. That's it in a nutshell. I'll get him back. I will get him back. I may have used the wrong vocabulary, but if he's going to work on building sites, it's a harsh world out there. He's got to get used to it. And when he's good, he's very good. And I don't think there's any harm in telling people when they're, not up to their best, tell them. And when they are their best, tell them. I don't see anything wrong with that, but maybe in this day and age, I'm a bit, I don't know. Anyway, right then, next video from here will be doing this bit here, this slab in there, where I'll go into a lot more detail into actually what primer I'm using, what mix I'm using, how I'm getting the levels, how we're laying them, blah, 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 all that sort of thing. But the next video from me will be there'll always be Sunday's video, Richard on his extension that he's doing. And then next Wednesday, we'll be doing the roofs over the bungalow build. So stay tuned for that. If you haven't subscribed, please do. It helps the channel. And until next time, take care.